Hello everyone and welcome back to Motion Recaps. In today's video we will narrate a mystery horror movie called Grave Encounters. Watch out for spoilers. The movie is depicted in a documentary style. Jerry Hartfield is an executive producer of a show called Grave Encounters. The show is a supernatural type where the crew is trying to find ghosts. Then, we can see a show's intro where we meet the crew. Their names are Lance, Sasha, and Matt. Then, Jerry says that episode 6 that we are about to watch is real and that it's assembled out of 76 hours of recording. The episode begins, and we can see Lance making an episode introduction. The crew is at Collingwood Psychiatric Hospital, and there, they want to investigate the supernatural activity. Lance then talks with a historian named Morgan Turner, and he tells Lance a lot about this mental institution. He tells Lance how the conditions were abysmal when the hospital was working. Patients were treated like animals, they were sleeping on the floor, and they were abused by staff members. Morgan also tells Lance about Dr. Friedkin. He was practicing lobotomy on patients until 6 of them stormed his office and stabbed him. After interviewing Morgan, the crew enters the hospital with a building caretaker named Kenny. He shows a few places to the crew where the ghosts appeared. The first one is a window that gets opened at night by something. The second one is the room full of the writings on the walls. The third one is the bathtub where one girl patient took her life. And the fourth is the basement where Kenny saw an apparition. The crew then interviews a few more people about ghostly activities before a medium comes. They film him going to a few places at the hospital and talking about activities. After the cut, we find out that he is an actor, and also that there is one more crew member with them, a cameraman named TC. As the night approaches, Matt sets up cameras on places that are most likely to have ghostly activities. He goes back, and Lance asks him to introduce some of the special gadgets. First, Matt shows an EMF meter that measures the electromagnetic field radiating from a specific, and they use it to locate ghosts. Then he shows an infrared thermometer and a special recorder that they use to talk with ghosts. The recorder can play back infrared that the human ear cannot hear. Later, Lance tells Kenny to lock them up and unlock them at 6 a.m. The crew investigates around, and they separate to visit the places with most activities. However, everything is quiet. They meet up in a room which they are using as headquarters to talk about their investigation experiences. We can see shots from a few cameras that Matt set up earlier, and one of them catches a window opening up by itself. TC roams around filming when his daughter calls him. He puts his camera down, and as he talks with her, a wheelchair moves a little. TC doesn't notice the wheelchair moving. He finishes the call, and then he continues to walk around. He gets to one room, and someone shuts a door behind him. TC freaks out and calls the rest of the crew. At first, they don't believe him, but as he shows them that he caught that in recording, they are blown away. Lance is thrilled, and he wants to investigate even more now. Full of hope, Lance tries to make contact with a ghost, but with no luck. Then they hear a weird sound, and when they go to check it out, they see a bed on the ground, and its wheels are rolling at full speed. Panic starts to brew, and everyone is talking at the same time. However, once they hear footsteps above them, they quickly call Matt, who is in a control room, to see if anyone else is in the building, but he tells them that everything is alright. The crew goes upstairs to check the situation, and Huston yells at the darkness, thinking that he will scare intruders that are hiding there. TC and Huston start to argue, and Sasha interferes, telling them that this thing could be real. She uses the recording device to try and communicate with a ghost. She gets no answer, but suddenly something moves her hair, and she runs away, screaming in fear. Everyone follows her. They manage to catch up with her, and she tells Lance that she wants to go. Huston backs her up, and he tells Lance that it would be best if they leave this place. But Lance doesn't want to do that, and he goes back with TC. Lance tries to make contact, but in vain. He takes a few pictures without knowing that he caught apparition in every single one of them. They head back, and they manage to get lost somehow. Then, everything becomes more intense because TC and Huston are slowly losing their nerves. After some time, They manage to get to the control room where Sasha and Matt are waiting for them. Lance tells Matt to go and grab all of the cameras. Matt goes to pick them up. He arrives at the room where the window is wide open. He tries to call Lance, but he cannot get him. Then, he hears a banging sound, and he ventures into the darkness to investigate its source. Lance is trying to contact Matt, but when he figures out that there is no use, he and others begin the search. They are slowly walking and looking around. TC goes near the stairs to see something, and something pushes him. He falls to the ground, and others come quickly to help him. They get back to the control room. TC starts to argue with Lance. He tells him that someone pushed him and that he didn't trip himself. After some time of arguing, TC tells Lance to call Kenny to unlock the front door. Lance tries to call Kenny, but he has no signal, and then TC starts breaking the door. Lance gives him a hand. Soon they manage to break it, but they are shocked when they find out that those doors do not lead outside. Instead, they lead into a hallway. Everyone starts to panic because they are trapped in this building now. Lance notices that his clock shows 8:30 a.m., but outside is pitch black. They are completely lost now. After some sleep, they find out that their food is rotten. They were sleeping for 7 hours. Also, there is no trace of Keeney unlocking the door. TC then tells them that he remembers that he saw a fire escape when he was doing a wide shot of a building. He advises everyone to try and reach the roof and to escape. Others agree, and soon they pack up for a leaving. After some walking, they manage to get to the stairs. They are full of happiness and hope as they climb them. However, everything changes when they see a dead end. They can't believe what they see. Devastated and with low morale, they try to find another way out. Then, they hear Matt's screams. Quickly, they go to check them out. They get to a room that only has a bed in it, and suddenly that bed starts to move around. The crew is terrified, and they run away to hide. They take another nap, and everyone is shocked when they find out that Sasha has the word hello carved in her back. Lance calls Matt, but he is not responding. The crew goes out to look for him again. They hear some sounds, and someone runs from one room to another. They quickly go after that person, and they see a woman standing at the corner of the room. They slowly approach her, but she turns around, and her face turns into a demonic one. The crew runs away, and they lock themselves in one tiny room. However, they forgot about Huston. He is roaming alone in the dark when suddenly something grabs him by his neck, and it kills him by throwing him away. After another nap, Lace, TC, and Sasha find out that they got medical wristbands around their wrists like they are patients in this facility. They head out to find Matt once again. They see that most of the doors in the hallway are open now. They start to argue, and they stop. Sasha is nervous, and she had enough. Suddenly, an arm comes out of the door, and it grabs Sasha. Lance helps her to get away, and everyone runs away into one room. There, they stumble on Matt, who is wearing a patient gown. Soon, they find out that Matt has lost his mind. He is traumatized, and he thinks that he is a patient in this asylum. They fall asleep again. And when they wake up, they find dozens of hands reaching out from the walls and a ceiling. They escape to a room where the female patient took her life in a bathtub. Matt toes near the bathtub, and he is looking at it without blinking. The bathtub is full of blood. TC goes to check Matt, then he meets his demise. As a demon emerges from the blood in the bathtub, it grabs TC, and the bathtub falls to the ground. Lance and Sasha are shocked to see that both Demon and TC disappeared without a trace. They continue to roam, disoriented, around the asylum until they find an elevator. Lance thinks that they are saved, but the elevator is dead, and he needs something to open it. He goes further down to the hallway, where he sees it turn bad, and he takes a rod from it. Then he sees something on the ground. He gets closer to it and figures out that the thing is a piece of someone's tongue. Then he takes a closer look at the tongue, and a few drops of blood fall on the floor. As he looks up, he sees a demon on a wall. It jumps on the ground, and it starts chasing Lance, who is running for his life. Lance manages to get back to the room with the elevator. There he opens an elevator door with the rod. However, he hears something, and he goes to investigate. He ventures further, and a demon hurls at him. He runs back, and Sasha helps him to shut the door. Meanwhile, Matt puts the camera on the ground, and he jumps off the elevator to his death. The demon stops banging on the door. Lance and Sasha go to the elevator, and they find out that Matt killed himself. They climb down with the idea to get into the underground tunnel that connects the asylum with another building, and that way, they can escape. They walk for quite some time until Sasha falls to the ground and throws up blood. Then two of them decide to take a rest, and while they are sleeping, smoke manifests, and it takes Sasha away from Lance. After some time, Lance wakes up and finds out that Sasha is gone, and now he is alone. Through his camera, we can see that he is losing his mind. He is talking nonsense, and he even kills and eats a rat. Then he continues to roam in the tunnel until he finds a room. In there, he finds weird instruments and grotesque pictures of patients that had a lobotomy. Lance also finds an old book written in rune. He continues to look around until he sees Dr. Friedkin performing a lobotomy on a patient. Lance accidentally knocks an object down, and the doctor attacks him. The movie ends with Lance managing to get away somehow, and he signs off for one last time. And that's it for today's video. If you had a good time watching it, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more interesting movie recaps.